And Israel has announced the creation of another 22 Jewish settlements in the occupied West Bank, the biggest expansion of its kind for decades. Several of the settlements already exist, built without government authorization, but they'll now be retrospectively made legal under Israeli law. The creation of Jewish settlements in the occupied West Bank is widely seen as illegal under international law, although Israel disputes this.
This is a clip from BBC News broadcast at 10 p.m. tonight. Another slap to international law by a rogue settler colony, and the collective might of the Western powers have moved in swiftly to shield Israel's yet another heinous crime with their cunning choice of words. I shall come to the response from the Western leaders, particularly from the UK, but let's stay with the BBC for now. Did you notice how its presenter, Rifat Jawaid, ended the piece on Israel's plans to illegally occupy more of Palestinian land in the occupied West Bank? She used terms like creation of, instead of calling it expansion of more illegal occupation. She then said that the creation of Jewish settlements in the occupied West Bank is widely seen as illegal under international law, although Israel disputes this. Can you detect a glaring journalistic fraud here? She said it's widely seen as illegal, instead of saying it's illegal, period. It's illegal under international law. Then she quickly added the Israeli version as to how this settler colony views it. Would the BBC present a convicted criminal's version after he or she publicly proclaims to violate the established law of the land? Would the BBC say that someone has decided to occupy a piece of land that doesn't belong to him or her and carry a caveat that while this is illegal in the UK, but that criminal disputes it? Have you seen the BBC carry this caveat while reporting on the Russia-Ukraine conflict, stating that Russia disputes this? And Rifat Jawaid wasn't alone. Almost every BBC TV presenter and field reporters use the same line as if they had an order from someone at the top to do so, in their bid to cast doubts in their audience's mind about Israel's yet another crime. Watch these two clips that user Staniford shared on Twitter.
About the occupied West Bank, and there's been an announcement about an expansion of further settlements which have been ruled illegal.
So yes, this is something that it seems the Israeli government approved a couple of weeks ago, but the details are now only just coming to light with announcements by a couple of key ministers. And really this amounts to one Israeli NGO, Peace Now, which monitors the settlement growth. It says it's the most extensive move of its kind since the Oslo Accords. That's the breakthrough peace agreement more than 30 years ago between Israel and the Palestinians. And they're saying it will dramatically reshape the West Bank and entrench the occupation even further. Now, what the Israeli Defense Minister, Israel Katz, has been saying is that this is a strategic move by Israel to prevent the establishment of a Palestinian state that would endanger the country. And we've got the Palestinian presidency coming out very strongly, calling this a dangerous escalation and accusing Israel of going against international law, because, of course, under international law, settlements are really widely seen by the international community as being totally illegal. Israel disputes that.
Now, Israel has announced a major expansion of Jewish settlements in the occupied West Bank. A total of 22 new sites have been approved. Settlements are widely seen as illegal under international law, though Israel disputes that.
Look, no less than the International Court of Justice has declared Israel's occupation of the Palestinian territories, including the West Bank, East Jerusalem and Gaza, illegal.
July 2024, the International Court of Justice has recognized beyond any reasonable doubt that the occupation that Israel maintained in Gaza, the West Bank and East Jerusalem is unlawful and must be relinquished totally and unconditionally. The troops, the military barracks, so the military presence, but also the civilian presence, all the settlements must be dismantled. which doesn't mean that there will be an uprooting of all Jewish people living in the occupied Palestinian territory, but the land is to be returned to their owners. And perhaps the Jewish Israelis who are there may want to rent instead of stealing and living as Palestinians if there is a Palestinian state. And this is not even new. This is not even new. Everyone knew that the occupation was unlawful, and not just for violations of international law here and there, because Israel kidnapped children and adults, including in the middle of the night, and put them in jail for days, weeks, months, and years, until they confessed crimes that they had not committed. And not just because of torturing, demolishing homes, killing people arbitrarily. No, not because of that. The occupation is unlawful because by its very presence, it prevents the Palestinians from enjoying their right of self-determination, the right to exist as a people, free to determine themselves as a people, which is nonetheless any other rights lose meanings and becomes an exercise of intellectual rhetoric without the right of self-determination. So in the face of this groundbreaking advisory opinion, which has confirmed what everyone knew, it is the obligation not only of the German government, but every German person, including those having businesses, living in the settlements, working as soldiers in the Israeli occupation forces, not to do that anymore. Otherwise, they might face consequences.
So the matter ends there. Therefore, the question is, where is the need to say Israel disputes this unless your intention is to protect Israel for yet another criminal act? The UK government, led by Prime Minister Keir Starmer, whose conduct in this conflict has been shameful to say the least, it said that it condemned the development. Great, job done. Now you understand why we have been saying that this government has been a willful participant of the genocide of Palestinians by Israeli terrorists. Former British diplomat and UN aid chief Tom Fletcher was on the BBC tonight. He said something profound on how history will judge us for our questionable conduct in the face of unspeakable atrocities against Palestinians. Of course, he was referring to the leaders of the world. But this equally holds true for people working in Western media outlets. The suffering of Palestinians will no doubt haunt all of them for the rest of their lives.
History will judge us. I think that history will be tough in the way it judges us. And it must be. When I went to the Security Council, I chose my words very, very carefully. And I'm choosing them again carefully now. I wanted to issue a warning to the Security Council that in previous cases, Rwanda, Srebrenica, Sri Lanka, the world had told us afterwards that we didn't act in time, that we didn't sound the warning and ask that the world respond to prevent genocide. And that's my call to the Security Council and to the world right now. Will you act to prevent genocide? It's been announced in advance. We can't say we didn't know what was happening. And all I'm asking is for the international community to be able to say, tell them, we did what we could. That's what we're trying to do. And nothing we get thrown at us will stop us doing that.
That's it from me. Thank you very much for your support of this platform and our journalism on buymeacoffee.com and Patreon. If you too think that our journalism is worth supporting, then you too should consider becoming part of it. In the meantime, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so, because that's one of the many ways you can support independent journalism. God bless you all.